It's all about mindset. That was one of the first things that, when I first got into real estate, I failed miserably for 3 months. And then my mentor took me to an amazing event with William Clement Stone, Nightingale, Tommy Hopkins, Jim Rohn. And that was where I learned, mindset. So
I love it, Tom. You said the same thing. It's all about mindset, and that's when you learn in the personal development. And you know what's interesting? I want to share something Don said. It was very interesting because we talk a lot about habits and the right mindset and discipline. Okay. And he made a comment about discipline being resolve. And I thought that's really interesting. We talk a lot about the self-discipline, and he says, really, it's when you get in a deeper level, it's resolve for something. You're being committed to it. So I thought that was very insightful.
Yeah, that's great. And I think that's one of the key factors that's made Don so successful is his discipline.
Yeah.
Yeah. And his resolve. I love that.
Yeah. It comes back to your why. You have to have a strong why. I think that's stuff that I push. I really enjoy helping people, but if you stretch and grow, you have to have a strong why, and it's got to resonate.
Yeah, absolutely. And
okay.
Jackie, I'll turn it over to you.
I'm so excited, you guys. I have only had, one cup of coffee. This is my second. And you can go ahead and start the live stream as we get started. So I'm gonna share a presentation with you guys. My goal is to take about 20 minutes, get through this, but I really want your interaction. If you can join me in this conversation, we're talking about mindset. Let me share my screen real quick. And I'm just going to go ahead and get started. So welcome, everyone. This is something that I put a lot of thought in my professional journey. And so let's get started. By the way, this is a picture of my son. He's in Moab there, and he climbed a mountain or a cliff or tower, whatever you want to call it. It's called Cobra. This has since fallen, and he's all about reaching his potential and has been an inspiration to me as well. And I want to share something. Your potential is probably why you got into real estate back in the day, right? Or why you made a change. And basically, your potential is where you're expressing your greatest giftings, your biggest talents, some of your passions, and you're making an impact on others and experiencing results, right? That's where your potential is, and ultimately where you are getting the greatest fulfillment. Okay, so that's where we all want to go. We want to be there. We want to get there. And we believe, I know you believe deep down, you have potential. You have greater potential. However, there's a concept called interference. And I want you to look at this iceberg here, because the iceberg is what we typically see is on the top, but below the water is this massive chunk of ice that's truly directing how fast it goes and where it goes. And this interference, basically, I want to call your default thinking and even perhaps a wrong mindset. So basically, your potential minus your interference equals, let me click on here, your performance. This is what's visible. This is what everybody sees. So let me ask you, just to think really quick, where's the interference for you? Where's the interference from me? And that's what we're going to chat about. So just the big idea for our few minutes together is to bring clarity around what's holding you back from your true potential so that the best version of you is always showing up. Wow. Wouldn't that be awesome? If we don't get it right, you're going to feel stuck, largely unfulfilled, and not moving closer in the direction of your dreams and your deeper ambitions. If we don't get it right, if you don't get it right, if I don't get it right, you know that you were meant for more, and yet frustrations are going to mount with a lack of progress. Also, something seems to continue to hold you back. You just raise your hand really quick. If you feel like there might be something holding you back, or you see something that continues to show up, more and more time has passed. We don't get it right, and a lack of fulfillment. Ultimately, you're not any closer to living to your true potential down the road. Like, we don't want that to happen. But if we get it right, you can get a game plan, put effective steps in place, leading you towards your best self and your best life. If we get it right, with each victory, you can gain confidence with a great understanding of what's standing in your way, and gain clarity of set free from the previously embraced false beliefs. So we're going to dive here into let's get clear on the process. And I want us to just kind of pause in this slide for a while. And then this is really, really crucial that most people do not understand. So this is, you guys, I took about 2 years studying neurological. I'm not a neurological scientist. I'm not a doctor, but I studied a couple of books. One was Who Switched Off My Brain by Dr. Carolyn Leaf. She's a neurological doctor, and she's written this book, and it's a hard book to digest because she's thinking such higher level. But I really took some time to study this whole idea. But let's just think about a little boy. This is a random story, probably, a little boy maybe in 2nd grade, 3rd grade, and he's out in he's out at recess, and they're playing baseball. And for the life of him, he cannot hit that ball. Like, that's true. He can't hit the ball. He's swinging. And he notices some kids out in the outfield that are actually kind of laughing at him. And maybe he hears the word loser, right? And so we can probably this all might resonate with us, because sometimes kids can be very mean. But anyway, this event happens. Now, my question to you is, what's true? The only thing true is that he can't hit the ball. Okay. What happens, though, is we begin to tell ourselves a story about that event. And you guys, right here is where the damage is. Let me ask you, someone unmute, tell me, what story might he tell himself? What's the conclusion he's going to draw right there?
I can't do it. I can't hit the ball.
Can't hit the ball. Might he say, go ahead.
I'm not good enough.
I'm not good enough. Yeah. And so what if this then happens repeatedly? What if this kind of idea happens to him, and the story he begins to tell himself over and over again is, I guess I'm not worth anything, right? And so then what starts to occur is a belief, a core belief begins to happen. And I'm going to pause here because, you guys, I think this is so relevant to us. I know we're talking about children on a baseball field, but it's the beliefs that you begin to carry and hold on to. And remember that iceberg I showed you? That iceberg, you guys, that iceberg underneath the water is truly most of our subconscious thought. Did you know that your conscious mind falls asleep at night? But did you know your subconscious does not go to sleep? And really, almost its job is to repeat to you what you told it all day long. So it's going to repeat to you all night long what you told it all day long. So if this young man tells himself and repeats that idea over and over again, I like to equate it to a grain field. I grew up on a farm. We had 365 acres. We grew wheat. And about August, September, you guys, this is what it looked like. And I want you to think about if I was on this side of the grain field and I was on the front here, and I decided to walk across this grain field. right? And if I went to the other side and I looked, I could see where I kind of trampled the wheat, right? However, what if I walked this grain field several times, over and over again, walked it back and forth over a year, 2 years, a decade, a couple of decades? That pathway will get very predominant. You guys, that's exactly what happens neurologically. We will create a neurological pathway with the same thought process embedded again and again and again and again. And this is a core belief. Now, there's something very interesting that happens. There's something called an RAS, Reticular Activation System. And it's like a guard in front of that pathway of your brain that if an opposing thought comes in, let's say after year, this young man begins to believe, I'm not worth anything. I guess I don't matter, right? This reticular activation system, if someone comes up to him and says, young man, you're awesome, you're incredible, you can do it. That RAS system stands as a guard in front of that neurological pathway and says, nope, I can't accept it. It's going to reject it. And that's why it's so hard for someone to think differently, because they have this activation system that says, I'm not going to accept an opposing thought to this predominant. This is really remarkable, because can you imagine a thought? You can't grab it. You can't feel it. You can't hold it. Actually takes up real estate in our brains when it's repeated. When it's repeated over and over again, it takes up real estate. It's literally something that you can see with a microscope. They've done studies where bitter, embittered, grudging people, you can tell the life they live by looking at their brain at the end. With how many, because it's literally structured differently than someone with gratitude and thankfulness. So we got more to cover. So then this young man, right? Let's say he believes I'm not really worthwhile. I'm not gonna matter to much. I'm not gonna get anywhere. And so he's in his 20s, mid-20s, and he gets a job, right? And then he doesn't like it, and then he gets fired. So your action steps will equal your beliefs. Ultimately, your action steps equal your beliefs. And then he gets results. He gets fired, and he doesn't like those results, right? So what does he do? He probably changes some actions. He might go back to college. He might try something else. Yet, the most common mistake that people make, if you don't like your results, you just change your actions. However, there's a key here, you guys. Your results equal your belief. And if you don't address your belief, you're going to get the same results. There was a young lady interviewed on TV, and she was very, very, very overweight. And I don't want to oversimplify weight problems, because I know there's a lot to it. But for the purpose of this illustration, I want you to hear me out on this, because she was interviewed, and she said, as a child, I was told over and over again, oh, honey, you're always going to be a fat little girl. Your mom is fat, your daddy's fat, your sisters are fat, your brothers are fat, your aunts are fat, your uncle's fat, your grandparents are fat. You're just going to be a fat little girl. Right? And so what do you think that became her belief? What do you think the story she told herself was? Anybody? What do you think was the story after hearing that over and over again that she told herself?
She's going to be fat.
Yeah, I'm going to be fat. So you think her action steps were equal to her belief? Maybe, right? She didn't eat well, eat healthy. And then she gets the results. Maybe she's older and she doesn't like where her weight is. So what do you think she changes?
her belief?
Well, typically they don't go to your belief. You go to a different diet, right? A different fad. Let's try this diet. Let's try this exercise. Most people just change their actions. And yet, if you don't attack your belief, it's not gonna make a long-term difference. So let's say this young man, right? He's in his 20s. He doesn't believe he's worthwhile or he matters that much. And he wins the lotto. Okay. So I want you to understand your brain and your body is always working towards integrity. So I want you to think about, oops, let me just escape this. My thing's not a tightrope. Okay. So he's sitting there, he's on his tightrope. And he's got a bar to keep him equal. But on this bar, his bank account says, I'm worth millions. But his belief says, I'm worth nothing. And he's out of balance. And you guys, if he doesn't get in balance in time, he's going to fall off of that rope. And that's how we are physically and neurologically, always working towards integrity, because maybe this could be why within 5 years, lotto winners do what?
They're broke again.
Yeah, they're broke, file bankruptcy, because in time, you're going to be working towards integrity. Your beliefs, you guys, are so key. And what do you do then? If this neurological pathway is predominant, where's the hope? What you really have to do is you have to create a new neurological pathway. And basically you start through this grain field and you just create a new one. You can't reduce the old one. You can't remove the old one, but you can diminish it. And you can actually change your neurological pathway within 14 days. And what do you have to do? You have to create a new belief. And so that is basically by attacking the wrong beliefs. So how do you do that? And then we're going to open it up for some questions. I just encourage you guys, oops, my pen's not working here. I encourage you to identify the interfering limited belief that's holding you back. You guys, your results equal your belief. If you're not getting the results you're wanting, and guys, I'm in the game with you, my friends. Okay, I'm in the game, and some of my results aren't equaling, they're not what I wanted. So that's where I go to. What beliefs do I might have about myself that's holding me back? Where's the interference? You know, I encourage you and to start asking the question. Do you think you're not smart enough? Do you think you're not good enough? Do you think you don't deserve it? Do you think it's too hard? Do you think you're not talented enough? Like all the other people in you know, that you see on stage. Well, what do you think? Where is your limited belief? Because you got to change it. You got to change that belief. And then you got to replace it with a powerful, personal, you guys, I put these intentionally, these 3 P's here, powerful, personal, and present tense statements that attack your limited beliefs. Powerful, because the other thing about neurologically is there's been a lot of emotion that cemented those in. And that's why you have to have powerful things that attack those beliefs. They have to be personal, and they need to be present tense statements that you can tell yourself that attack that limited belief. It's basically the opposite of. And you got to replace and then start to tell yourself that. And you guys, this is what I do. This is my morning routine is before I get started, I tell myself these powerful, personal, present tense statements that I believe are way more true than the stories I told myself back in the day that held me back. So, and then of course, you need to have a daily action plan of attack. So we can correct our beliefs, but if we don't have the right activities, i.e. the top 20% of what it takes a real estate agent to be successful, or whatever action steps that are going to make a difference in your business, right? What are those action steps? You have to increase or implement those action steps, and having the right beliefs without any actions is not still going to get you the results you want. And so I wanted to just share what I tell myself every day. You guys want to hear it? Every day in every way, I am growing in confidence and competence. Every day and in every way, I am setting 2 appointments. Every day and in every way, I add value to everyone I speak to. Love that. Every day and every way, great agents want to join my organization. I'm unstoppable. I'm unshakable. I'm unswayable. I'm unslowable. I'm always on track, and my best self is always showing up. It's always on display. Watch out, world, because I'm here. Watch out, world, because I'm going to win. Watch out, world. Let's go. And you guys, saying that literally gives me goosebumps, because it's powerful to me, and it's personal to me, and it's present tense. And I am unstoppable when I start my day like that, and also continue my day with it, even at the end of the day, because you've got to attack your beliefs. So that was how much time? Where am I at in time? I'm doing good. Okay. I want to have some questions, you guys. What are you thinking?
I'd like to just jump in and say, this is awesome. This is amazing. And I'm reading a book, listening to a book right now that's called Oversubscribed. And one of the Daniel Presley, which is awesome. I would definitely read it. But one of the things that he is talking about is beliefs, and having the core beliefs, because if we believe in something strong enough with passion, number one, it's going to create action and results for us. But number two, it's going to create results and action with our clients, with other agents, so they move forward. And we need to be passionate about it. Not everybody's going to always believe in our beliefs, but the few that do, you're going to have some followers. So, for example, one of my beliefs is I believe that it's at every point in someone's life, if you work hard and long enough, you're going to want to be focused on passive income. And I believe, to get out of the rat race, when passive residual income exceeds monthly expenses. So that's one of my beliefs. And then I have, more about a coach. Just a quick story. My daughter's soccer team was in a big tournament in Davis over the weekend. But before they could go to the final round on Sunday, they had to win by a point differential. They had to win the game, the semifinal, by 10 points. And the players on the team, they were kind of questioning whether they could do it. But their coach said, I believe in you. You can do it. Let's do this. Let's win. They won 10-0 in a 60-minute game. That's every 6 minutes they scored a goal, and they did it. So that's kind of an example.
Yeah, I love that. And there was a study done in at the University of San Francisco several years ago. John Maxwell talks about this, and they took a group of students, and they told these students, you guys are the top students in this grade, or in this section of the student body. You're the top students. And they told these teachers, a group of teachers, you are the top teachers, right? And so they said, we want you guys to work together exclusively as students and teachers, because we want to see, if you guys work together, how much will your grades improve? And so they did. And over a period of time, I think 6 months, they did. And you guys, amazingly, their grades improved, like substantially. They were all amazed, until the students were told, by the way, you weren't the top tier students. And so they were like, oh, because we were with the top teachers. By the way, teachers, you weren't the top performing teachers. But what happened was they changed their belief by just telling them that. And with the right activities, they actually achieved exactly what they believed to be true.
That's awesome. One final thing is there's borrowed belief. Sometimes if I don't have enough belief, sometimes either a coach or a friend or a family member, hey, I believe in you, and when a coach tells you, or a family member, hey, I believe in you, or as parents, I believe in you. So there's borrowed belief. Borrow it from someone else if you don't have it at the moment, right? And
yeah, I love it. And you guys remember, things are going to happen in your life and your business, and you're human. That's going to create a crack in your belief. Think of a pot that has a crack in it. Okay. You got to go to work to seal up the cracks in your belief. And if it's borrowed belief for a while, or it's greater achievement, seal up those cracks or statements that are going to attack that crack in your pottery of belief. And you know what's amazing? The other day I closed with a client, and she was telling me something. She says, Jackie, every time I talked with you, I felt empowered. And she literally said you added value every time in every conversation. And it reminded me of what I'm telling myself every day. Every day in every way, I add value to everyone I speak to. And it is amazing when someone else literally repeats to you in those results that actually was from your power statements in the morning. Yeah. Any other questions, you guys? I want to anything. Oh, I love what to say when you talk to yourself. Yes. I love that book. Great job. Huge book. Yes.
So Jackie, to follow on Tom's statement, I have also read Oversubscribed by Daniel Presley. Strongly recommend it. Really has inspired me more than any book I've read in the last few years. And I thought about what would it look like to be oversubscribed in real estate? Mm. And I would consistently close over 50 deals a year. If I were to go back and selling today, though, I would probably set my sights on 4 transactions a month, because I feel that's about the maximum I could do and maintain really relationship-based service. Now, to be oversubscribed, what that would look like to me in my practice would be that those 4 clients that I chose to serve each month were my ideal client. Probably 3 of them were sellers, by the way. And because I would work with buyers, but I would just work with my sellers that became buyers. And what I would do is I would simply refer maybe to a small team the people that weren't my ideal match. So I would create an oversubscribed environment so that I got to work exactly with the type of person that I wanted to work with, doing exactly what I wanted to do with them, right? Which would give me energy. Mm-hmm. And so the question, and one of the things that Daniel Presley talks about is he says, every discipline that we do, we apply to LAPS, which is leads, appointments, presentations, sales. Okay, so if I want 4 sales, I've got to have some number of presentations. Maybe it's 6, maybe it's 8. And then I've got, in order to have 6 to 8 appointments, presentations, I've got to have so many appointments. Maybe it's 8 to 10. And in order to get 8 to 10 appointments, I've got to have so many leads. Well, how am I going to get those leads with my ideal client? Right? So that is something I would encourage everyone to think about is, what could I do to become oversubscribed in my real estate practice.
Good stuff.
I love it. Any other thoughts or feedback, you guys, or comments? Man, attack those limiting beliefs. You can do it. And yeah, I haven't read that book, Oversubscribed, but I love it. I can't wait to get that book. I think it's right in line with.
By the way, you can download it on Audible if you just want the Audible version for free.
Yeah.
I bought the paperback as well, but it is amazing.
Yeah, I love it. Matthew, I know you have a powerful mindset, my friend. What are your thoughts on this? Any additional?
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you for the compliment. It is something that you do have to work on. I don't know that it, comes naturally, because life throws us curveballs. Life is not easy. It's not a cakewalk. But if we realize that the tough struggles that we have and the things that are thrown our way that are a little difficult are actually gifts, if we just kind of look at them in a different way and realize that they make us stronger, right? You don't build muscle going to the gym by just looking at the weights. Like, you got to actually break the muscle down and it builds itself back up. So it's the same with the mind. Shad Helmstetter talks about in basically what you were mentioning on the cornfield there, or what have you, the wheat field, is we get into patterns. They're almost like highways, right? Like, you kind of go to the store the same way every time, right? But there's other ways to the store. And our brain is very similar, right? I think it's called neural pathways or whatever. And the more we continue to do the same thing or think the same way or say the same things, it grows stronger and stronger. It's almost like it comes from a single lane gravel road to a double lane to a 4-lane and then a freeway, right? So if we go, hey, I don't like the results that this way of thinking is going, I need to go a different route in my thinking. I need to take a different route in my thought car, if you will. And what is interesting is, over time, if you do go the new pathways and the neurological firings are in this new pathway, it actually then starts growing stronger and bigger, from single lane to double lane to 4-lane and so on. And now all of a sudden that old pathway begins to break down because it's not being used anymore, just like an old highway or an old road. Weeds grow up, cracks, and it's not really used that much anymore. But it takes work. Like you got to consciously be aware of it, and you got to, consciously decide, like, okay, I got some stinking thinking. Like, I got to make some changes here, right? If I want to get all the things that I want in life, what I've done is not going to get me, the way I've thought is probably not going to get me to what I want. I got to make some changes.
And yeah, his book, and I did hear him speak one time, and that's where I really started to embrace this idea and, ask myself, where is my stinking thinking at? Because I seem to be getting the same results and I don't like it, and they keep showing up. So maybe there's something there that I need to address. So you guys, I really encourage it. If you don't like the results, what beliefs are you holding on to? And I think this has been so powerful for me, and I just wanted to encourage you today in the same range. So thanks so much for those thoughts, Matthew.
Let me share one other thing, just piggybacking on Tom. I love that Tom said, if you don't have enough belief, you can borrow someone else's. And I think that parlays really well into the aspect of, you need to be aware of who you're spending your time with, right? Because when you spend a lot of time with certain people, you're going to start thinking, talking, doing like them. And so you want to be conscious about, what do they say, that you are where you are today because of the 5 people you spend the most time with and the books you read, right? So we've mentioned books in here. Reading is good. Carve out 10, 15 minutes a day of some personal development reading and so on. But I think really we got to be even more conscious of who we're spending time with, and be purposeful about trying to get into some rooms, if you will, around some people where you feel a little uncomfortable, meaning they're kind of raising the bar. They're top performers. And sometimes, if you're like what do they say, you feel like you're the dumbest one in the room, that's a good room to be in. Like, it's like, ooh, I'm not going to talk much. I just need to listen and learn. And this is going to be good being around these 4, right? Or these 5.
Yeah, I love it. It's so true. It's so true. There's a great quote, some people are best in small doses. Right. I know some people in my life that are just way better in small doses, if at all. And so, I value and treasure everyone around me. I think everyone has incredible value, but at the same time, you have to be selective at where you're spending your time, because it's making a difference in your beliefs, one way or the other. It's making a difference. So awesome. Okay. Well, guys, unless we have any other thoughts, comments, I guess we'll end it. And thank you so much. Tom, any last thoughts? Oops, you're muted.
While he's getting his mute off, Jackie, I just want to mention, I got through the crash of 2008 using your affirmation. Each day in every way, I'm getting better and better.
So, yeah. So this Friday, we have Freedom Friday, and we have none other than Nick Krim. He's the top 1% that coaches the top 1% in the country. And he's going to share some specific actions on the AI real estate revolution. So that's this Friday, 9 a.m. Pacific. See you then. Thanks all. Thanks, Jackie. Good job.
Thanks, Jackie.